Do you remember stubbing your foot on a piece of glass or accidentally burning your hand with boiling water? What's your next move? You typically rush to the first aid box, you assess the situation, and you check out what you have in the first aid box: bandages, wrap, creams, all sorts of things to help you to treat the wound immediately. The point is, you never anticipate when these things happen, but you always have something prepared to help you through it. Now, what about when you lose a loved one, or you are all of a sudden in a car accident? You have so much grief and so much stress and so much worry that you're dealing with. What about your emotional first aid kit? What about your mental toolkit that you use to help you to navigate these difficulties? Just as we can't predict or fully prevent physical injuries, ones where we may need to apply pressure or ice or something to stop the bleeding, we also can't always foresee injuries to the soul, moments of fear, anxiety, or distress. Yet we know that these moments are inevitable. So how about we prepare for them? Al-Imam Al-Balkhi highlights this, and he emphasizes that this dunya is an abode of anxiety, sadness, worry, and calamity. So it is only normal for man to expect, in spite of his efforts, the onslaught of misfortune, calamities, difficulties, and even disturbances to the calmness of the soul. The tranquility of the soul that we want so badly, this natural, healthy state that we want, is not a lasting state. We can all expect that external and internal factors will disturb us. Al-Balkhi further observes that the soul is more susceptible to injury than our physical bodies. He contends that due to the nature and changeability of the soul, psychological symptoms may manifest more frequently than bodily ailments. He tells us one may live a very long time without complaining of bodily aches or pains, but it is unlikely that one will pass a single day without experiencing something that causes them anger or sadness or anxiety or gloom. However, in recognizing the frequent encounters we will have with emotional challenges, we also know that we have resources to equip us with managing them. And we are encouraged to use these resources. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us, verily Allah sent down the disease and the cure, and for every disease he made a cure. Seek treatment, but do not seek treatment by the unlawful matters. And that's something that's mentioned by Sunan Abi Dawud. From Al-Balkhi's perspective on healing and nurturing the soul back to a healthy state, he recommends a spiritual, psychological kind of therapy that is similar to its non-physical nature. This entails a mutually inclusive approach of internal and external modes of treatment. And there's a strategy to maximize the effectiveness of these modes, so let's learn them. The first approach is the internal mode of treatment. That is developing within the soul thoughts of an opposite nature to the ones that sustain the problem, that neutralizes the symptoms and desensitizes their provocation. This is valuable during periods of relaxation or psychological well-being, and also when psychological symptoms arise. In fact, Al-Balkhi rahimahullah compares this approach to a storage of medicine, with established worth in a first aid kit to use in case of unexpected bodily pain developing in the absence of a physician. The initial response involves fostering positive internal thoughts, a treatment approach that is commonly utilized in cognitive behavioral therapy but can also be used independently. Cognitive restructuring or reframing asks individuals like us to identify negative thoughts, negative thought patterns, and challenge them. Instead, individuals work to foster healthier thinking patterns and perceive things in a more positive light. The second external approach Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala recommends involves seeking external guidance beyond oneself. He recommends therapeutic counseling and receiving advice from other people in a way that calms the troubled soul. This can look like seeking counsel from trusted friends, family, and religious leaders, but especially mental health professionals who are trained to help you navigate these challenging emotions. Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala suggests that this mode is more effective than self-help because man in general accepts from others what he does not accept from himself. This is due to the nature of the human psyche, in which self-biases and reasoning may lead one to make excuses for their behavior or their approaches and challenges. Another reason that Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala stresses the need for external therapy is that one suffering painful psychological symptoms is so occupied and overpowered by them that he cannot clearly think how to overcome them. Sometimes we need someone from the outside to show us a different perspective. Just as we seek external help and professional treatment for treating physical or metabolic disorders, External therapeutic advice can pave the way to recovery. Now, why exactly is this important? We've explored the high status of health in Islam and how our bodies, minds, and souls are an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted with our care. Al-Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala further underscores that a person who cares about the health of his soul should spare no effort in benefiting from these two means to protect the soul from being dominated by negative psychological symptoms that upset his life. It is vital to do so, since the psychological symptoms may become so severe and lead to bodily disorder. For example, unresolved chronic stress can manifest in physical symptoms, such as hypertension, disturbed sleep, gastrointestinal dysfunction, weakened immune system, and even cardiovascular issues. Al-Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala's emphasis on protecting the soul reflects his deep understanding of the interconnectedness of mental and physical health. We often don't approach our mental health with a direct approach as we do for physical ailments. Yet neglecting the well-being of the soul can have profound effects on our overall health and functioning. Therefore, it is necessary to take proactive measures against negative psychological symptoms before they take hold of us and escalate in their severity. In its essence, Al-Imam Al-Balkhi rahimahullah ta'ala's insight underscores the importance of holistic self-care and treatment. Recognizing the interconnectedness of the mind, body, and soul, neglecting these crucial aspects of our health can have consequences that extend beyond our emotions and how we respond to distressing situations. So as we approach our psychological well-being with the same diligence and preparedness, I ask you to consider, what are you including in your first aid kit?